Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We're listening to off the Romeo Bravo Bravo Tango EP, Dirty Love. My special guest today, River Toussaint-Rabbitte. She's in the band White Rabbit Object, and the album is also by White Rabbit Object. Welcome back, River.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. I'm having a blast.
Well, I hope I don't, I can't speak. It gets later in the day and I can't speak. I can't enunciate. I hope that I don't blow it for you.
I'm sure you
Since
won't.
you're having fun so far, I hope that we keep that up. Okay, so we talked a little bit about it in the first segment. If you're just joining us, White Rabbit Object, 4 band members, correct? And the band that's undercover, quote unquote,
You got
with
it.
Frank Rabbit, your husband.
Yep.
Okay. Who are the other 2 band members that play with you guys?
We've got our lead guitar player, Mike Vinopal, and we have our drummer, Aaron Coleman.
All right. And so you're married to Frank Rabbit.
That is correct.
That is a correct fact, as we established.
That is a 100% true fact.
How did you 2 meet?
Oh man.
Can you tell the story?
Yeah, I can. Frank, in his heyday, used to do a podcast uh, about local music. And I was playing a solo show, and Frank had sent me multiple emails trying to get me on the show, and finally I replied. And I went on his podcast, and a week later we went on our first date. And a month and a half after that, we were engaged. And a year after that, we were married.
That's a great story.
If you look hard enough on the internet, which I'm not going to give you guys all the tools to get there, you'll have to really search for it if you want. You can actually hear the first conversation that Frank and I ever had together, because it is recorded
On a podcast that
on
you're
a
not going to tell us
podcast
about.
that I will not reveal. Good luck finding it.
Oh man, I dug deep on the internet and I didn't find it. So good luck, everybody.
You're gonna have to dig
She's
hard.
she's not going to help us out at all. Well, did Frank, now that you know each other a little bit more than you did on that first podcast, did he ever admit to you that how he found you? Was it the music first,
Oh,
or
it was
did he
fully
see you perform?
accidental. Fully accidental. I was playing like at a restaurant, and he was just having dinner with someone at this restaurant, and they were actually like trying to have like a serious conversation, and both were like, "Oh, there's a band here." And then I started singing, and he's like, "Oh my God, I need to get this girl on my podcast." And so it's really funny to like, and again, you can hear that in the beginning of the interview, because like we didn't know each other, we didn't know anything about each other. And um
Podcast
yeah,
love.
podcast love, it's kind of like radar love,
I
but
didn't know there was such a thing, and I've never used it, so maybe I'm gonna have to try that.
hey, some people meet on dating apps, other people meet on podcasts.
Podcast. That's
So
awesome. It's the new thing.
it's the new thing.
The new thing. So here, I've always wondered this when I've talked to someone that's married to their partner in the band, and maybe you can. I've always wondered. I've never asked it, so I thought maybe you could answer it for me. Is it hard? And it may be part of the reason you both in the beginning said, "Let's keep our careers separate. Let's not perform together or write music together." Um, but I've always been curious, can you still write good love songs or genuine love songs after you get married to your bandmate?
I think 110%. Yes.
Yes.
can.
It's
Yeah.
not uncomfortable. Like it's like you're mad at him and it's like,
Mm,
is that about me?
no, no, because I think that like again, so we as much as we can, I think that we both acknowledge that, music will always be and playing music together will always be something that is a topic of conversation for
Mhm.
us. But I think that we know each other so well at this point that we understand that like we don't try and dissect each other's lyrics. Like every once in a while, like we'll ask each other. I mean, if it's so like we've got a new song that's coming out that's absolutely bananas. You guys are gonna love it. But like every once in a while we'll ask of a song like that, like, oh, like tell me more about the lyrics. But it never comes from a place of like, is that about me? You know what I mean? Like,
Or an
um,
ex-boyfriend or something like that, or just
no, because I think that we both acknowledge like again, we love each other completely, but we also love this thing that we get to do together completely. And not every song can be about the love that we have for each other. It has to be, this sort of like expansion of like lives we've led, people we've been, people that, we've been and lost touch with, and so I think that, we find ourselves in the middle of this really interesting dynamic that we get to and that we've chosen to share with each other. And I think that we're able to do that because we have so much respect for each other, not only as people but as artists too. And honestly, like Frank is one of the most prolific songwriters that I've known. Some of the lyrics that he writes, I thought I was a good songwriter, and then I like read some of his lyrics and I was like, how do you come up with this? Like where what like what part of your brain does that? And it's really
does
it's inspiring. It's
does he
cool.
know? Does it, or does it just come to him? Does he have an answer for that?
Usually he tells me that I'm better than him when I say something like that. Or he'll go, "Oh, please." And I'm like, "No, like he's a brilliant lyricist and he's usually humble about it."
Well, it sounds very healthy what you guys have, and you not. I would go the other way. Like, even though I asked that question, I would think that if I was in a relationship with someone that could create beautiful music like the two of you obviously do together, that is something a bond, a really incredible bond, and that because you're doing something together that you love and creating together, and that feels like it would be um, the right ingredient for a relationship. Not only do you get to go through that creative process, create the music together, um, you put it out there, together, and so it's 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 both of you, and so
Yeah.
it
And I think
sounds
that the progression of it is interesting because, he fell I think he fell for me as the artist, not like necessarily like in love. I don't know what that, I don't know if it was that at first, but he loved the music that I made, and then we fell in love with each other as human beings. And then we got to like almost like this is gonna sound so corny, but like almost like re-fall in love with each other again because of this bond that we were able to create through music. And I feel like every time we like sit down and write a song, it's like just an extension of that, if that makes sense. And I don't know, it's just really
yeah,
wild to me sometimes. And I'm like, God, like I love you, but I also love this like extension of you too, that is this creative, like thoughtful person who makes this wonderful music. And so it's I don't know, it's really wild. It's every once in a while I like catch myself being like, what the heck? Like
you're
what's
smiling.
happening?
It's good to be in love with the person you're in love with. That's good. That's a beautiful thought too. So I see your point. You know, it just seems like such an extension of what everybody else has, but then you take it to this other, you have this different layer to it that not everybody has. And it's probably the true you and the true Frank,
Yeah.
it's your essence of who you are, that music and creating creating this music together. Uh, does White Rabbit Object, do they belong to a region? Is it a Chicago band? Is it I know you play all over the Midwest. Is it a Midwest band? Is it the world's band? Like if you had to, does it have a sound?
The world, you can have us.
You can
No,
have us.
we are definitely we are very blue collar rock and roll. We are definitely a Chicago band. With that in mind, though, I mean, I feel so lucky every time like we have somebody reach out to us and it's like, when are you coming to Spain? When are you coming to Brazil? When are you coming to Berlin? When do what's happening? Like, it's cool that people from all over the world and within the United States, like, feel so connected to what they're hearing that they feel so inclined to like reach out to us and tell us that they like it. And so we are a Chicago band, but I also think that like Chicago is for everybody. Like
Yeah.
Chicago is one of those places that like if you come here, you're gonna be welcomed with open arms. And if you want to stay a while, like crash on the couch, you know? And I think our music kind of does the same thing where it's like if you've come to it, like there's room for you here. We might not be for everybody, but we are for everybody, if that makes sense. Like we anybody that wants to partake in this thing that is White Rabbit Object can absolutely be a part of it. Like we are not exclusive in that way to any one sort of region or sound. We want anybody that enjoys us to feel like, yeah, White Rabbit Object is my band. It's my town. It's, whatever that looks like for them.
There's some pride there. I can feel it. I can hear it.
Mad pride for my city.
Chicago has an attitude too, right? I mean, it's got its own.
Oh,
There's,
we're punchy
they're
for
not.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like few cities that feel. You can feel the undercurrent and the attitude, but in a good way of like, all like come stay on my couch and
I think it's
like this
more like
music. This
we're like less of that. We're more like Lake Michigan undertow. Like we will pull you in for sure. But
or
like
blow you
we're
over.
not matter of fact like New Yorkers are. We're not, I feel like New York is a very like that's how I've always felt when I've visited or recorded music there. Like it's very matter of fact. And I think that like Chicago's just like a little bit more like je ne sais quoi about how they like approach like everything, but we're still very proud of where we're from. So
So, what elements of Chicago can we hear in your music? Where can you give examples at all? Is that there's a horn, and I forget which song it is, but I just love it right in the beginning. That reminds me of of Chicago, like that city, the streets, the horn, the jazz. Um,
yeah, I think that
what
it's
elements?
very, you're right. You're absolutely right that, we've got sort of that jazz blues. I mean, to me, like Chicago blues is a staple of like who we are. I think that, sort of like the melancholy and sort of like dire desire that you hear in the songs are both like elements of things that are very like Chicago-esque, if you will, in the sense of like, I mean, I don't know if you know this, you probably do, but Chicago's pretty miserable for like 7 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And then it's the best place in the entire world for the summer and like early fall.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful.
And so like playing on those like emotions of like anger and love, I think that really is a reflection of like this sort of like bittersweet relationship that we have with this like I don't know, I feel like most of the year I'm like, why do I live where the air hurts my face? And then I'm like, oh my God, it's my favorite place in the whole world.
Air
But
hurts my
yeah, no,
face.
I think that too, like, we're very Chicago to me, like it knows who it is. It doesn't have to prove who it
Hmm.
is. You know what I mean? And
That
I
attitude.
yeah, I consistently feel that way about about us, and I feel confident and I trust myself enough, and it's not an ego thing, it's just that I trust myself and my bandmates to be very clear and intentional about who we are. Like we don't have to prove that. We show up as that every time we play, every time we write music, and that's something that's allowed to change too. It's very windy. It's we're kind of we run the gambit in terms of sound that we create, and so but I feel confident in our ability to show up as that, in whatever way we decide to do it, if that makes sense.
Well, to kind of use play off one of your song titles, going down the rabbit hole, and I teased it at the break, can you ever really get out of the rabbit hole? It's almost what you're saying in a way too. I mean, rabbit holes have they shoot off to the side. They've got different tunnels. There's a lot of things to explore. There's a lot of ways to get lost. There's a lot of ways to get found. And I,
Absolutely.
yeah, I like it. I like the
It's about
description.
embracing that though. It's about embracing
Hmm.
the losing yourself and finding yourself, and sort of that ebb and flow of those two things happening within this context of life. And I think that's pretty great.
It is pretty great. And this is a pretty great conversation, if I can say. We're going to go to take another break real quick. Keep You a Secret, Tidal Wave. I really thought this was a beautiful song. It's off the EP Whiskey Hotel Tango by White Rabbit Object. My guest today, River Toussaint, lead singer, solo artist, and lead singer of White Rabbit Object. Anything you'd like to tell the listeners about Keep You a Secret, Tidal Wave?
Yeah, keep you like a secret. So
Keep
it started off
it like a
as
secret, sorry.
being called Tidal Wave, and then a dear friend of mine, Scott May, who plays keys and organ in a band called the Ides of March. You might know them. He got a hold of this song, and he was like, I gotta play on this song. And I was like, are you kidding me? Absolutely. You're my favorite person in the entire world, and you're one of the most talented people I know. Um, but he was like, if I play on it, you have to change it to keep you like a secret. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like song like that's so like in your face. It's so like straightforward. He's like, yeah, but like that's the song. And I was like, let me hear what you do. Let me hear what you do on it first, and then we'll talk about the name. And he just like absolutely destroyed it. He also ended up playing the guitar part on this song, and I just like I'm so to be surrounded by so many talented people is like sometimes overwhelming, and I'm just like I'm grateful that he's in my orbit and played on this record. So enjoy the stylings of Scott May on Keep You Like a Secret.
That's a great setup there. Before we play that for you, go to whiterabbitobject.com. It's spelled wht.rbbt.obj.com and pre-order White Rabbit Object's first vinyl. We're going to talk about that coming up. And social media, you want to follow River Tucson as a solo artist on Instagram, RIV_RBBT, and on Spotify. Follow River Tucson, TOUSSAINT, and the White Rabbit Object Band on Spotify as well. wht.rbbt.obj band. And if you forget all that, just go to their website, whiterabbitobject.com. You can also find music there, tour dates, merch, self-titled first two EPs, videos. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. So check that out. All right, we're going to take it a break. Keep You Like a Secret, Tidal Wave. Off the Whiskey Hotel Tango EP. Pick it up.